for which he will be remembered. One, his empathy towards the less privileged. In a vanguard of social justice, he has been at the forefront of empowering the marginalized within our respective societies. We have a message to our leaders. They can pick lessons from the life of the pontiff, specifically what he has been able to do during his illustrious career as the Pope. Sorry. We do join the rest of the world, and specifically the Christians, the Catholic community, in mourning the demise of His Holiness the Pope, who died yesterday. The world woke up to that sad news yesterday on Easter Monday. And since then, the entire globe is in a somber mood. We would like, first of all, to appreciate His Holiness for an illustrious life he has led, for the towering legacy he's leaving behind. And in as much as we are mourning, we do celebrate his life. Throughout his career as the pontiff, he has touched many, many lives. He's been a transformative leader who has touched, as I said, millions of lives, especially the indigents, the less privileged, and the vulnerable members of our respective communities. That legacy will stand for a very long time. He's been a vanguard of social justice, a vanguard of equity, and also a vanguard of peace. He truly exuded those values in all aspects of his life. We do celebrate that kind of illustrious life which he has exuded. He's been particularly compassionate towards the poor. That will have to be underscored. The compassion he has exuded towards the less privileged, the poor, will always define his legacy for posterity. And on the front of ensuring that there is global peace, he's been so instrumental. And this is what now constitutes our message, particularly to the leaders in the East African region and the US president, because we want to send this message to those two, the leaders in the East African region, the heads of state, and President Trump, as they pay tribute, and as actually tribute to the pontiff, the East African leaders here, the heads of state. need to have some introspection to reflect on what is going on within the region, the Great Lakes region. Pope Francis is on record having been the first Pope to visit to visit 3 East African countries during his time as the Pope. 3 East African countries: Uganda, South Sudan, and DRC. It was unprecedented. And there is a reason why he did that. Because this region is bedeviled by wars, insecurity, political instability, and so on and so forth. There is a humanitarian crisis within the Great Lakes region, which drew the attention of the Pope, and indeed he deemed it fitting to come and lend a hand. Specifically, his act of humility, humbling himself and kissing the feet of the president of South Sudan, Salva Kiir, speaks volumes about his large heart and the love he had for the region and the commitment to ensuring that there is peace, that peace rather prevails within this region. That act which he exuded, humbling himself to kiss Salva Kiir's feet, and the symbolism that goes around with it, should be very, very instructive to the leaders. They should take it very seriously, that all he wanted is to see that peace prevails, not only in South Sudan, but the entire Great Lakes region. The region which is afflicted by the humanitarian crisis that I have talked about, with over 1.5 displaced people from Eastern DRC here, South Sudan, and from Somalia, Eritrea, and elsewhere. So as a tribute to the late Papa Francis, as a tribute to the late Pope Francis, the heads of state of the East African nations should carry out that introspection, reflect on this, and make a renewed commitment to ensuring that there is peace within the region. As we speak today, the signs are on the wall that all is not well within the region. What is happening in the Eastern DRC needs no mention here, with M23 and the government of DRC tussling it out there. To the extent that as we speak today now, even the political actors are on each other's neck. The political actors are now ravaging one another. Such a deplorable situation, which we condemn, but also invite the leaders to critically reflect upon as we pay tribute to late Pope Francis. In the same vein, again, the political environment, which is not in any way in tandem with the values that we espouse, which are enshrined within the East African Treaty. That is democracy, rule of law, constitutionalism, and good governance in general. Acts of aggressions are on the rise. Oppression and repression against political opponents on the increase. In DRC, for example, right now, Kabila's party has been suspended. One would expect Tshisekedi to have picked lessons from the turbulent history of DRC. Now he's engaging a reverse gear, or the little they had gained, it's being washed down the drain. The People's Party for Reconstruction and Democracy, which belongs to Kabila, the former president, has now been suspended. In DRC, meaning that actually Tshisekedi is turning out also to be worse than Kabila, is becoming another Mobutu. In Tanzania, Tundu Lissu, the leader of opposition of Chadema, you are aware he is facing charges of high treason, but he has not even been taken to court. He's incarcerated. Chadema also suspended. They have been disqualified from participating in elections. In South Sudan, Riek Machar is still under house arrest. I can go on and on and on and on. But that is testimony enough, or it's a testament to the fact that the region is not at peace with itself. So, as we pay tribute to Pope Francis, we need to reflect on this situation as members of the East African community and ensure that we do things that would guarantee political stability within our region and stop this madness which is going on. Stop the humanitarian crisis which has affected millions within our region. It's the only tribute that we can give to Pope Francis, who visited these three countries: Uganda, DRC, and South Sudan. That's the only tribute that we can give him, by restoring a political sanity that would guarantee durable stability within our region and bring an end to the humanitarian crisis we are confronted with. So that's a clarion call we are making. The second message goes out to the President of the US. Probably he may not listen to us, but he owes it to the world to also reflect on his toxic policies, as he also pays tribute, because he's one of the leaders who have poured out their sentiments in the, as a way of making the tribute to the late Pope. So he's one of the people who has given his his message of condolence. But that is not enough. Pope Francis was a vanguard for the rights of the immigrants or migrants. He was at the forefront to fight for the rights of migrants, displaced people. Now, when he assumed the power, President Trump executed those obnoxious and toxic directives which have affected many, many immigrants or migrants. So as we remember the life and times of Pope Francis and eulogize him, let's emulate his good deeds. Let's carry forward his message of tolerance, his message of compassion and empathy, his message of love for one another. So this, as I said, is another clarion call on the part of President Trump. It's not about only migrants, but also the poverty-stricken countries which are affected by his toxic policies, Uganda inclusive, because he cut off all the financial support we are getting for our vulnerable people like the HIV victims and a couple of others who are suffering because of those policies. So we invite His Excellency Trump to reflect on those policies and make sure that as we eulogize and hail Pope Francis, all we do as leaders, the actions we take and the policies we make or the laws we pass must reflect those values that he espoused and championed. They must be in sync. The policies we make must be in sync with the values that he held dear to himself and helped to uplift mankind or humanity as a whole. So that is the call we are making, one to the heads of state in the East African region, and also to President Trump to critically reflect on during this time of mourning the demise of Pope Francis. Issue number 2.